Um, this class ends up being just under an hour. I try to keep it as short and sweet as I can. There's just a lot of really great info in this class. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, and I will encourage you guys to absolutely, if you want to, by all means, where did I get the class to? There we go. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So I am going to just go ahead and get started here. And like I say, if anything comes up, just definitely feel free to interrupt me. And so we're going to definitely talk about women's health and hormones today. One of the things that I always like to say is, if we had only maybe learned in the beginning about how amazing our whole infradian rhythm, our whole hormonal cycle is, with all of the hormone building and falling that we have, all of these supportive things we have in our system that are working with us, but we don't learn enough about them to be able to really achieve what we need to when we need to. And in fact, we go against ourselves a lot of ways physically. So when we're working against ourselves physically, hormonally, it's really difficult to try and keep our mindset motivated, our neurological system on board, when physically things just are not balanced. And a lot of times it's just that the nervous system or the hormonal system has been disrupted. And when it's disrupted, the biggest thing is kind of getting it back into balance before it gets to a point where it's too far to actually be able to get back in balance again. So while we always look at these things as very, very common, very, very, sort of common sense, there's so many of these that we don't tend to do on a daily basis. Now, when we talk about consuming healthy fats, in the 80s, 90s, even into the early 2000s, we learned, about all these diet products, all these sugar-free things, which are good, but a lot of times the fat is what's knocked out of them. And that can be really disruptive to hormones in itself. So getting some of those healthy fats, those avocados, the coconut oil, the olive oil, the things like with the healthy omega-3, 6, and 9 balances, that's what we really want to sort of achieve. And by achieving the right fats, we can actually allow our hormones to work properly. One of the ways to do that is with seed cycling. So I'm going to go over that a little bit with you later, but we can just simply add a couple of seeds in our diet at the right amount at the right time and have all of these healthy fats that we really need in a really balanced and yummy way. Watching our caffeine intake, that's huge, right? I am a coffeeholic, so I never really like to tell anyone they can't have coffee. However, if we have a hard time sleeping, we may want to watch our coffee intake after 5, after 6. If we tend to have 3 to 4 cups in a day, we may want to scale that back to 1 or 2, just because it's really hard on our adrenal glands, on our endocrine system, and on our hormone levels. So a cup is okay, but we really do have to watch the amount of caffeine that we take in. Sleep, that's just such a normal one, right? If you're drinking enough water, which is not on here, but I kind of let it follow that caffeine, we sometimes have to get up in the middle of the night to wind up going to the washroom. We don't always get a full, really quality sleep. And the sleep is so important simply because nothing can regenerate, nothing can actually grow while we're not sleeping, right? So if we're sleeping properly, our hair is going to grow better, our nails are going to grow better, our skin is going to repair, our cells are going to repair, our systems are going to be able to detox and sort of reset. It's huge. It's like shutting that computer off. Every once in a while, you just really need to make sure you're getting your sleep. And for hormone and glandular balance, it's your biggest help, absolute biggest. Moving, we all know exercise is so important. And it's really amazing how when we're sitting all day, moving for 30 minutes a day in a row, can be really a difficult thing to try and incorporate into our day sometimes. So that's just, a walk. That's maybe doing some yoga, maybe some Tai Chi, getting moving, letting all the fluid flow through those joints, getting that fascia to release, getting everything just moving, getting your circulatory system pumping, get those endocrine glands, just starting to flush out when they need to flush out. By moving, we can just allow that to happen. And it seems really basic, but it's so important. Supporting our digestive system, of course, that is really key with our hormones, right? If our digestive system is off, our hormones are also going to be off. Not to mention our neurological system, not to mention our brain. All of these things will sort of combined will allow the brain fog to dissipate, just allow those little hurdles that we set up for ourselves, sometimes unintentionally. It allows us to just kind of take some of those hurdles down, not make it so difficult. And maybe it's just one of these that we need to look at, but sometimes it's all, right? So I just really like this list. Our daily lifelong vitality supplements, of course, our vitamins, oiling up daily. So if we have the proper nutrients and we have the proper oils to support us, why the heck don't we use them sometimes, right? So this is a really great way to just kind of have a gentle reminder that if we're doing those basic things, we're going to be able to go really far. So now I'm just going to have a quick peek here, because I want to make sure, there we go. I thought I felt someone come into the waiting room there. Okay, try sharing this again. All right. There we go. Now I can see everybody on there. And I jumped forward. There we go. So oiling up daily, that's definitely my favorite thing to do. And the funny thing is that we can have all these oils at home and sometimes we actually forget to go to them and use them. So we're going to tell you how some of your oils at home that you already have can be used to help balance your hormones and also support your endocrine and your hormone support as much as possible, because there's a lot of them that you likely already have at home. Now we're going to get right into it. Our hormone system is regulated by some very, very important glands, some very, very important organs. And one of the main ones that does a lot of our filtering, a lot of our cleansing of our system, everything that's going to be sort of moving through your system is going to depend on your liver working properly. Something really easy that we can do to help our liver out is actually taking something along the lines of our Zendocrine blend. It is a nice mixture. It has grapefruit, it has some of your lemon, it has your rosemary, it has a lot of your cleansing, your detoxification oils, and it comes in an oil, it comes in a capsule, and it comes in an herbal complex. So you can go just mild with the oil, where you would literally take a couple drops in your hand and rub it over your liver, literally over your liver. You can get some detoxing action happening from that right away. You can also detox the liver by drinking a little bit of lemon, just one drop in your water every day, or one drop of our Smart and Sassy or our Slim and Sassy oil, or even drinking a drop of the Zendocrine oil, just to allow your body to literally purge the things. Our fat cells can get quite full of toxins. And so sometimes we're trying to do all these good things, we're throwing all these good things at it, but they're so full that they actually need to purge before they allow that flow to actually start to happen. So the metabolic blend, the Slim and Sassy blend there, our Zendocrine blend, those are the biggest ones for just kind of boosting that liver metabolism and also allowing the body to detox at the same time. For pancreatic care, so the pancreas is right in around where the liver is too, is just a little bit more towards the middle. A lot of people get sludgy pancreases, or they get, a little bit of blood sugar issues, maybe pre-diabetic, maybe they have to pee a lot, maybe they're puffy, that kind of thing. This is where you're going to want to end up having a little bit more of that Slim and Sassy, that metabolic blend, and actually have it in a capsule. You can take those capsules 1 to 3 times a day, and it's actually going to really help your body to kind of get rid of that excess water. So it's going to help your kidneys filtrate properly. It's going to help your liver, your gallbladder, all of the cleansing organs to actually really work properly. When we move down the row there to those cute little orange knobs on top of your kidneys, we're looking at adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are the ones that are basically in control of your cortisol output, which is your stress hormone. And your stress hormone is going to be increased if your adrenals are in fatigue, or if you have a little bit of um, a tendency to stay up past 10:30 at night, or if you have a little bit of a tendency to use your second wind to your advantage, or you have a little bit of a tendency to even be a night owl and stay up a little bit later. You've already used your next day's stress hormones, your adrenal, all your energy. So you're kind of going into that next day a little bit depleted. The way to care for your adrenals is with Magnolia. It's a beautiful blend. It smells amazing. And all you got to do is undo the roller ball and rub it right on your adrenal glands. So those are right underneath your rib cage and your back, right on top of the kidneys. So you would just literally take the Magnolia. You could rub it even on your stomach, but you want to kind of go to the lower back there. So not only will you smell really good, you'll feel really good, and you'll have a nice calming feel about you as well. And the adrenals are big time in charge of energy too, right? So if you are noticing that around 2 o'clock you get a little bit of a zap, a little bit of an energy zap, this is where you would want to take something like our Mito 2 Max. A lot of people aren't sure about this particular supplement. It is great for energy and stamina, especially if you have that funk in the middle of the day, if you're just really tired, if you're not getting enough sleep. This is a way to really get your ATP, all your mitochondria to start working again. It's really great if you're just depleted all over the place. It's a wonderful one to add instead of having extra caffeine in your system. And very last but not least is our thyroid blend. You'll see on the very top at the neck, our thyroid is a gland that's really big as far as metabolism goes. It's something that can be quite high, it could be quite low. A lot of people have tumors. They have all sorts of stuff going on in the thyroid gland. And so this is a way to support the gland in general, but also your metabolic health. So in a 10 ml roller ball, you would take 10 drops each of clove, myrrh, frankincense, and lemongrass. Just top it up with fractionated coconut oil or whichever carrier oil you tend to use. And you're going to apply that to the thyroid area about 3 times a day. Now, not only are these oils huge for cancer fighting agents, they have huge antioxidants balance to them. It's going to really boost that metabolism, that thyroid. It's going to give it that support that it needs so that it doesn't have to work so hard every day. I really love all these sort of recommendations, and it's kind of a way to understand that Zendegrin is really going to help cleanse you. The metabolic blend is literally going to help your metabolism. The energy blend is going to help your energy, but we can use a few of those tweaks like Magnolia for the adrenals. I have had a CT scan where they know that my adrenal glands are shot. And so I can't wait to actually have another scan now that I've been using Magnolia for about a year or so, because I know my energy is sure different. So if we're not sure where to go, maybe we have some of these oils already in our toolbox, and I'd love to just unpack some of them with you and for you as to how they can help. When you look over on the left-hand side, you see frankincense again for pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus support. Now, this is all brain. This is all, if you're feeling cloudy, if brain fog is a big thing, if you can't stay focused, frankincense and sandalwood is a really great focus type of blend. And it's also going to sort of pass that blood-brain barrier. So not only can you use frankincense by putting a drop in your hand, dipping your thumb in it, and then actually placing it on the roof of your mouth for 30 seconds, you can make roller balls out of these blends. You can use them in a diffuser. You can use them to just simply put a drop of each in your hand and smell, and then rub at the back of the neck for the brain support, for hormone support, like the next one over, the more the hormone and adrenals, the glands. The geranium and the ylang ylang are going to be super supportive. Now, those I tend to use with hormone and glands. I tend to use them around the glands that I need, or I stick to pulse points or feet. Going up the spine is great, so you can make roller balls out of this. Again, you can just diffuse, putting a drop of these on the feet. Hormones, ylang ylang is one of the best ones that you can use for balance. It's going to increase libido a little bit. It's going to balance things out, whether it's high or low as far as estrogen or progesterone goes. And it's actually going to really help with that stress hormone, that cortisol as well. For thyroid support, this is another option. If you don't happen to have frankincense and myrrh, but you happen to have blue tansy, the blue tansy is really great as a motivator. A lot of people put it on the blue toe as on the blue toe, on the big toe as a bit of an action oil. So if they're just sluggish, if their metabolism needs a little bit of a boost, blue tansy is an amazing one. Putting it on the feet, putting it around again around the thyroid, or just on the pulse points, putting them behind the neck. It's always awesome for something like this. When we look at adrenal and gland support, that Zendocrine, this is the oil. So a lot of people end up using the Zendocrine or the Slim and Sassy or Smart and Sassy, whatever you want to call it, on the areas that you really want to. Say if you wanted to get those fat cells shrinking in your arms, you can rub the Slim and Sassy on your underarms and you'll get nice and tingly. You can rub it on your stomach. You can rub it on your lower abdomen before you work out, and you can get that extra ginger and everything working towards ending up getting into those stored fats that you really need. But Zendocrine, I absolutely love as just a detox blend. And this is something that I tend to use in the last 2 weeks of my cycle. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about the cycle, because a lot of us think we don't have a normal cycle because we're in menopause or what have you. The bottom line is most women don't have a normal cycle anymore because so many of us have been on either birth control or are have some kind of hormone support that we're on, all these kind of things. So the easiest way is to go by the moon. So I'm going to explain that to you guys just to sort of have you understand how you can truly sync your cycle with the moon without needing any oils or without needing anything extra. It's just a matter of knowing where you're climbing and where your falling is happening. DDR prime is the last one that's mentioned over here. This is for nerve repair, glandular support. So DDR prime is actually when you've had crushed nerves or you've had surgeries or you've had things where on a really deep level, you need some DNA repair. This is going to be amazing. So it can be used on the pelvis, it can be used on the feet, it can be used on the spine, it can be used absolutely anywhere that you have neuropathies. Absolutely an incredible oil and very sort of under the radar. A lot of people don't even realize how magical this one is. And one of my favorites, which I will touch on a little bit more later, is the Whisper. It's a perfume blend. It's one of the only perfume blends that are made for women. That is my go-to. That is my perfume I wear every single day. It makes me happy. It has that undertone of, it's almost like a baby powdery kind of a smell on top of sandalwood and patchouli. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if you guys haven't tried that, there's that ylang ylang in it. Super good for adrenals. Also a mood stabilizer. It will make you happy, make you relaxed, but an absolutely gorgeous, nice woody smell. That's a really beautiful perfume. So another thyroid blend, and a lot of people do have this one at home. If your thyroid is, if you know that you have thyroid underactivity or overactivity, or you just feel like, maybe you've had it tested and it didn't come out as a normal, but you're pretty sure it's not normal, this is something that you can use. The frankincense and myrrh, lemongrass and lavender will all be driven in by the peppermint. So I highly recommend using 20 drops of each of these in a 10 ml roller. It's a nice, not overpowering, but really strong, amazing thyroid support. Just an extra, not everybody has all of the oils that we mentioned before, but when you look at how we kind of go back to thyroid, we go back to these main oils, they're all on the different levels supporting in every way that you need. When we have something like extra estrogen, extra progesterone, extra something in our body, there's ways that we know. And if you're wondering, how do I know if I have a high or low? Some of the things that will happen when we have really high estrogen, if you have a cycle, if you're actually having a menstrual cycle, the blood will be very bright red. And usually it's very, very heavy. And this alone will show that we have high estrogen. Your breasts will generally be quite sore. You'll have things like varicose veins pop up, little spider veins popping up all the time. Sometimes easy bruising, the mood dysregulation, things like that. And a lot of times it's from, we have all these xenoestrogens coming around in our systems, all the toxins that we're inundated with. Our body produces extra sometimes just due to some of these imbalances. And never mind being in stress mode or in fight or flight mode or in, a stress response for a prolonged period of time. It's okay if we're stressed out once in a while, if there's a tiger chasing us the odd day, our body can handle that. But when we're sort of feeling like that tiger's been chasing us for, oh, I don't know, 2 years now, you get kind of stuck in that sort of um, hyperstasis of neurological overrun, right? Like it really does get to be discombobulated. And so by doing things like eating properly during our cycle, eating properly during our day, it makes a huge difference. I don't know if you guys notice, but if you end up, eating a lot of carbs or a lot of sugar in a day, you feel kind of like garbage the next day, right? Like your joints will be more swollen. Even sometimes for people, it's red meat that'll cause it, but we tend to know these things that will set us off. The biggest thing is making sure that we're eating as organically as possible, as much as we can, having meat that's being sourced from farms that we know, not being pumped full of chemicals, getting a good variety of fruits and vegetables, and not cutting these things out, not limiting ourselves, not having to have a huge crash diet or the big thing with eating is giving our body a break. And by that, I mean, when we look at our insulin levels alone are going to control a lot of our stress, our stress hormones, right? So by eating constantly, we're always in that sort of fat burning mode where it's looking for that external source. Your body's never going into those stored fats. It's never really burning those sort of extra calories that we have. It's always burning the new things that we're bringing into it, whether it be something healthy or not. When you give yourself a break, this is why a lot of people find intermittent fasting works so good, is when you actually give yourself a bit of a break, your insulin levels will actually level. So you can go from having quite a high insulin response to not having that happen by just giving yourself a break. It really is imperative to allow your system to kind of reset and that insulin to be able to kind of shut off once in a while. And that is truly why people get such magical results from something small, like just, doing an intermittent fast where they all of a sudden are giving their body a break to actually not be producing that insulin, to get your levels to start to balance out a little bit more, and your body won't be in starvation mode. It'll have a break, but it'll actually get what it needs when it needs it. So you're always giving it the right signals. And when we are giving it the right signals at the right times and giving it the right foods at the right times, it can be just exponential. So when we don't know, when we, aren't sure about which food to eat when, which I am going to go over with you a little bit, just in like very, very vague detail, we can do something like rely on our lifelong vitality. Our lifelong vitality is basically 3 supplements that come together. It's got your alpha omegas, it's got your EO omegas, your alpha CRS, and your microplex VMZ. So that means you get all your omegas, 369s, all balanced out with the vitamin D that you need to absorb it. You get all your vitamins, all your minerals, everything from A to Z that you could possibly need, like broccoli root. Everything that I was looking for in vitamins was all in this stuff. I didn't have to go buy everything extra. It all comes together. It's going to help your brain. It's going to help your blood. It's going to help your mood, your stress level, your immune system. It's going to help you get sleep because you're going to be producing melatonin properly. It's going to help balance your hormones. It's going to help your hair and your nails grow. Your skin is going to clear out. The inflammation leaves our body. And it actually allows us to be able to absorb all the other nutrients that we're going to be absorbing and ingesting during the day in a bioavailable way, that we don't really have to worry. We still get 8 servings of fruits and vegetables by taking these, even if we haven't eaten right that day. So back to my whisper. I did promise I was going to get back to this. The smell of this, you guys, if you haven't tried it, it is one that is just so incredible. And it's something that we can use as a bit of a hormone balancer as well. One of the tricks I love for hormone balancing oils is what we're going to do is we're going to take them and apply them to our thinnest skin. So going along the spine is wonderful, over the stomach. This we can go on the lower abdomen, even in the upper thighs. If you've got cramps, if you've just got achy muscles, this is a beautiful one to just apply there, and it's just going to sort of gently balance things. If nothing's really out of whack completely, but you want to kind of have a really nice perfume, this is actually going to do the exact same trick. But it actually really helps with anger or irritability. So a lot of people have found with anxiety that this is something that they can actually put a little strip in their hand, just rub it together, inhale, and then kind of put the roller ball on the back of their neck. I even sort of rub it in and put a bit up into my hair just so that when I move my head, I can smell it again during the day. And I get tingles just thinking about how good it feels and how good it smells. And for me, it's a real relaxation oil. So I get that actual, physical response from just having that oil around. It is my perfume. Now, I know a lot of you out here that could use this as a perfume. This is for the woman who is just going to absolutely get her done. This is for the woman who probably won't stop, who may be completely out of whack, but is not going to let anything slow her down. So by using these, this is going to get to a lot of your mood balancing, keeping you calm, keeping you organized. The clary sage is huge for uterine toning, so if you don't have time to stop and pee, this is going to keep you going too. It helps with pelvic support. It helps with the geranium is going to help with kidneys. It just really helps to balance things out. So putting it on the feet, putting it along your pulse points, by that I mean anywhere you could take your pulse. So on the neck, in the carotid artery, you can go to your wrists, you can go into the insides of the arms, anywhere where you would check your pulse is a great way to apply your oils, because it's going to get right into your stream that way. It's going to get right into your system. And within like 30 seconds, you have mood and hormone balancing support right there. So a 10 ml roller bottle, again, you're just going to put 6 drops each of clary sage, lavender, and ylang ylang, and then 3 drops each of the geranium and patchouli. And you can top that up with a carrier oil. And if you don't have the whisper, this is one of the closest blends that you could make that's just a lot like it. Except for there's just 2 oils that it doesn't have, but it's very, very close. So I really enjoy this one. And it's also a nice one. I have a label made for it. And when you give that to a woman, she feels a little bit empowered because she knows she's a superwoman, and you can end up sharing this. Clary Calm. So this one I get calls for a lot, because one of the adaptogenic herbs that I used to always prescribe I was a doula for 15 years as well, before this whole pandemic started. I was always in the hospital, and I would always have Clary Calm with me. And I would use it during labors, but I would also recommend that if a woman was trying to conceive, that she use this. It has Vitex in it, and Vitex is one of the most hormone balancing herbs that you can actually take. And so this is a really unique blend that we have this in. I felt really empowered with doTERRA, because every time I would try and recommend something to somebody, I would, before I understood what I even had in my whole doTERRA toolbox, I would send them on goose chases looking for geranium and Vitex and carrot seed and even the Palmarosa, because we couldn't get it for the longest time. But now we have Palmarosa and we have Clary Calm. So for women who have hot flashes, this one, I use Clary Calm and then I drive it in with some peppermint. You will not have hot flashes that get to a point where you need to strip anymore. This is the magic button, hot flashes. So Clary Calm behind your neck, behind the ears and pulse points, and then you use a little bit of peppermint. And I tell you, I haven't had no one complain that that did not work yet. Sometimes it's just Clary Calm that works for people. Sometimes it's just peppermint. But when you put those together, whoo, it's good stuff. So this is something that is wonderful during any kind of time of the cycle of a woman, simply because it's going to help again with that uterine toning, that hormone balancing. You can end up putting it on the thin skin again, or on the back of your neck, down the spine. For your cycle, you can use it on your lower abdomen and then put on the heating pad, and it feels a little bit cool and warm, a little bit tingly. Like I said, hot flashes. Oh yeah. To balance your emotions, just literally putting some on your hand or on your pulse points and just inhaling has a beautiful smell, of course, with that sage and lavender and bergamot. It's it's like a de-stressing oil as well as a hormone balancing. So if you have a woman in your life that you love, this is such a nice little gift to give them. And it's so pretty in the little roller ball that it comes in. Again, putting it over the heart for balancing hormone changes, and again over the abdomen or lower back if you're feeling anxious, and also for blemishes if you haven't tried that yet. The clary sage and the Roman chamomile are soup, and the cedarwood and geranium are actually really amazing for the skin. So I urge you to give that a try, especially on those pimples that tend to like to harbor underneath the skin and don't like to come up. This will knock those out of the park. So Eric's, I love this one. I don't know if you guys have had much experience with this one yet, but it is a very cleansing type of a blend. It's a newer one that we haven't had in our office for probably I guess the last year. And so I hadn't had a chance to use it. And I ordered it a couple months ago, and I think I use it probably every day. I use it instead of past tense as like a headache blend. I use it for clearing sinuses. I use it to kind of keep the area clear instead of on guard. I like using this one in the kitchen just because we have cats. I like to use it for inhaling just to relax. I feel like it kind of opens things up, but it's not as intense as something like Breathe. It's not meant as a respiratory blend, but it's so clearing that it actually allows you to feel that way. And another one that's super good for adding into your night cream, and really gets rid of those blemishes, but sort of helps to tone the skin and detoxify it at the same time. So if you haven't used Airex yet, I would highly recommend giving it a shot. Super hormonally balancing and cleansing if you take a drop internally. And a lot of people didn't know we could even take this one internally. So absolutely a cup of hot water, something like that would be super beneficial. So, you know how I was talking about if you're high estrogen, what do we do? You guys, I've left you guys hanging there. We have all these symptoms happening. So what can we do? This is something that we can do right here. This is literally a magic pill for something like that. Super good in balancing, especially your estrogen levels, but also with progesterone. So progesterone, you'll notice it's high often if you're bruising easy or if you have very crepey type skin. A lot of women are like, what the heck? They've got these big purple marks. That's often really high progesterone, which is common as we get a little bit older, right? So taking something like this will actually really support that and allow the estrogen and progesterone to be a little bit more balanced so they're not so extreme during those parts of our cycle. It also is going to help to support all your tissues. So you're going to want to end up taking this, if nothing else, just for things like supporting your bones, supporting your heart, supporting menopause, supporting any kind of cyclical thing that you may be going through. Dr. Hill even suggests using this. He uses this with his teenage sons for acne and things that sort of pop up cyclically, because of course men have hormones too, right? And they have very much the same hormones that we do. So things do get out of whack, especially when we do have a lot of estrogen, a lot of those xenoestrogens floating around in our system, and we want to be able to get that under control. Even within a month, you'll notice a huge difference just by taking something like this. It's absolutely amazing. So it's not for any stage of the game, it's for every stage of the game. Then we have, welcome Christiana. And welcome. We had a couple more people pop in there. I just kind of kept on yabbering. So we are on to our bone nutrient complex. Now, what we have here is something that is completely balanced out with the vitamin D, the D2, the D3, the calcium, the magnesium, everything that you need to be able to have it totally bioavailable and absorbable and work and not be extra in your system is in this bottle. That's one of the reasons I really love doTERRA, is that everything is so tested, everything is so vetted. Everything is so intentionally made that we don't have to worry about those things that might be missing or that we have to buy something else to make it work. This is just something that someone would want to take if they were having, you know, cases where they maybe had a little bit of osteoporosis, or if they wanted a little extra bone support, if they had joints in the past that were really achy, they had problems. This is something that you would definitely want to sort of look at possibly allowing into your life, especially if you are 45 and above. It is a really wonderful thing. There are some kids too that really are accident prone and are healing from bones breaking and all, are just kind of prone to that kind of stuff. This is not definitely not a bad idea as well. So sleeping. Does anybody here sleep really well? They have no problems with sleeping. I used to recommend herbs before we ever got this Serenity capsule that had passion flower, hops, and valerian root in them. So instead, this has our lavender, our passion flower, our German chamomile, has L-theanine, these amazing amino acids, even lemon balm, like lemon balm in there, you guys. That's a super huge, expensive oil. It's like absolutely incredible. And we can take it in this little capsule. And it's more like a natural sleeping pill. So a lot of people are on, you know, they have to take some kind of even NyQuil or something to kind of help their brain shut off. We have this in an oil that comes just on its own that you can just put in a diffuser or on your feet, and that may be enough. If it's not, give one of these soft gels a chance. Try one, see if it makes. I had one of my clients, she was so cute. She came back and she said, boy, if I, it was something along the lines of, I didn't know if I was dead or if I was sleeping. Like she just like had, it was so cute. Just had such a great sleep after trying this. It was like, oh, made me feel so good to be able to get her a good night of sleep. She was going through so many health struggles and troubles. And if we're not sleeping, we're not healing, guys. So this is amazing. I love, absolutely love Serenity. So that's why I wanted to just mention it. If we're not producing melatonin, that is a big hormone for sleeping. And to get your proper melatonin, you need to have some darkness before going to bed. So I can't stress enough cutting out those computers, those phones. I know you hate me now, don't come at me, but they're terrible. You know, they disrupt our melatonin production like crazy. And so if we have sleeping troubles, that's one of the first things I cut out. Now the crazy thing is we're supposed to cut it out once the sun goes down. So really we'd be able to work for like 6 hours on a computer or a phone, and I don't ever expect that. But know that it is super disruptive, so you can at least adjust the blue light on your phone so that it's not as disruptive. And get out in the sun in the morning and in the evening before that sunrise happens, just as it's starting, and right before that sunset, just as it's starting as well, and do a little sun gazing. It'll do you so much good. So this is another fun little balancing hormone. If again, you don't have any of those oils at home, this is kind of like a, okay, if things are just really crazy and out of the ordinary. Now I put this one in right now because people's hormones are going really out of whack. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is a huge influx of weird hormonal issues happening, periods that are coming back. Like I can't tell you how many senior citizens I've had call me in the last 2 months that have had periods start. They were 60s and 70s, have not had a period. Some of them are vaccinated, some of them are not, but this is going on. Like it's weird. So this is my Haywire hormone roller. It's 15 drops of clary sage, 10 of lavender, 5 of ylang ylang, and 5 of geranium. And if you know anybody that is going through symptoms that are just wonkers right now, this is your go-to. I don't, wonkers is my new word. You can use that one if you want to. But putting it on the low back, putting it on the abdomen, and putting it on the feet, especially during your cycle and before. Like if people really struggle with cramps and just all those really crazy PMS, this is my favorite one. So take note of this guy. It's a big gun. All right. So if I have overwhelmed you, we're just going to go, these ones are great for this, these ones are great for this. So if you're not so sure, the best time during your period is, or the best oils during your period are the Clary Calm on your abdomen. You can use, if you don't have the Clary Calm, you can make a roller using the clary sage, lavender, a little bit of rose. Rose is so healing. It's good if there's any kind of if there's a viral thing going on, a bacterial thing going on, if you have a bladder infection, a UTI, any kind of infection, rose is going to just kind of get right in there and annihilate it, eradicate it. So absolutely love that. And it's also super good for the heart, the healing, that heart healing. So rose, throw it in a bath, these oils are just so good. And then perimenopausal and menopausal. So we didn't really touch on that as much, but a roller with rose, jasmine, geranium, lavender, neroli, and or clary sage. Now I use 10 drops of each of these. I only use 5 of the rose just because it's so expensive, and I tend to be a little cheap with my rose because it goes a really long way, right? And same thing with the jasmine. But if you have it, use 10 drops of each. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is going to be, a woman that is going through the perimenopause and menopause stage, not sure where they are in between, but struggling either way with different symptoms. Can be, the skin, hair growing in different places. This is going to be a really good oil selection to choose from. And something like neroli, when we look at neroli, it is great for people that, and you can use these all together or separately, okay? But a roller with them is beautiful. The neroli, it is really good for people in circumstances where, mom and dad kind of don't like each other, but they're not going to live without each other. They just put up with each other. And maybe they have their son living there too, and they're all putting up with each other. You're just going to want to go put some neroli in their diffusers, and you're going to want to just leave it there. And maybe put a neroli roller in each. It helps you to sort of put up with those situational circumstances that we're not leaving. We just have to learn how to kind of adapt and put up with them. So those are some beautiful oil suggestions for that. Libido booster. So this can be, this can be sexual energy. This can be just energy in general. Just, when you get your mojo when you get kind of excited again. This one reminds me of Motivate, this blend. Now, when we take the jasmine roller, this is a special protocol. So you take your jasmine roller, you start at one hip and you just swipe all the way over to the other one. Okay, just right across the abdomen. Then you're going to take your ylang ylang and wild orange. First, you're going to smell it because it's amazing. And then you're just going to put it on your pulse points. So I take a drop of each. I just kind of put it on my wrists, put it on my neck, and just kind of get it under my hair. And that one will just kind of get you feeling a little bit more open again. Sometimes we just want to shut her down and hide under a blanket. This is a good one to stop yourself from doing that. Now, when we talk about self-love, a lot of people don't know what self-love is or how to even do self-love. And all self-love really means is that you're not looking in the mirrors, saying, ugh, I wish, that 10 pounds didn't creep back up over Christmas. You were doing so good, that looking in the mirror and not judging ourselves, not picking on ourselves. We wouldn't do that to anybody else. So why do we do that to ourselves? So when we're not so sure, we can take a little snippet of bergamot. We can take a drop in our hands. We can use a drop in our tea. We can use a drop in our bathtub. If that's something that, if we always kind of feel like, well, if I could just do this, I would go do my videos. Or if I didn't have these puffy bags under my eyes, I would feel free. I would be easily jumping on Zoom and doing that. So if I just took one more course, if we're always sort of looking at ourselves, if I was just a little bit different, then I would be okay. We never have to be a little bit different. We are who we are, and we should love ourselves for that a little bit more, because there's no one who is a better friend than ourselves. So the bergamot oil is kind of like your best friend oil. And if nothing else, it reminds us that we're probably the best friend that we've ever had. So we should probably start kind of treating ourselves like one. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go over a little bit about the seed cycling and the foods to sort of eat during your cycle. And I'm not going to overcomplicate this for you guys, because what we do is we go by your cycle, right? When you have your period is basically that's the start of your cycle. So right at the very end of the last day of you bleeding is kind of like day one. So when you don't have a normal cycle, when you haven't had a period, say, if things are just wonky, the best thing to do is to actually sync your infradian rhythm. So not the circadian rhythm, not the 9 to 5 tick rhythm, the infradian rhythm, when your estrogen's climbing, when your progesterone reaches, when you get to that ovulation point, when you go down. This is the flow that we all have every single month. We just weren't really trained to take advantage. If we could have all the women athletes performing and competing on ovulation time, they would kick ass. I am just saying. We have the most energy then, we have the most output, we have the most stamina, we have the most everything. At that point, it's scientifically proven. So I'm going to take you right after menstruation, or we're going to call it the full moon. The full moon is almost always when women tend to have their cycle. It's when babies are born. It's always, I was always busier that week before and week after the full moon. But if you're not sure if you have a cycle, if you haven't had a cycle in years, we're just going to say it's the moon. So full moon is day one. Okay. Day one is going to be, it's a 4-week cycle. So we're going to just break it down into 2 weeks and 2 weeks. In the middle is ovulation, and that's when the new moon is. So we're going to start full moon. This is what we call your follicular stage, where your estrogen is climbing. We can burn calories fairly easily because we're not that hungry in this stage. We tend to not. And now, if you guys are like, no, I'm totally backwards, that's because your hormones are dysregulated. So this is how we want it to be. And this is how, if we just cycle it this way and start supporting it this way, it will all rhythmically start to just balance out. Okay. So bear with me. The first 2 weeks are our follicular stage. So this is like, the plant's growing, and this is like spring. So we want to support it. We want to give it all the good raw fruits and veggies. We want to eat proper lean protein meats. We want to push it a little bit with exercise these couple weeks because we have that extra energy to do so. We want to be out there making plans. We want to, around ovulation, we're the most, social. So we're going to be setting stuff up. We're going to be, starting projects. We're going to be making goals. We're going to be getting there. And the thing we can do with healthy fats and seeds, I was going to talk about seed cycling, is this, okay? Follicular cycle is a tablespoon each of pumpkin and flax. So it's just a tablespoon. It doesn't matter if it's raw. Pumpkin seeds, you can just kind of snack on, throw them in your salad, throw them in a trail mix, even throw them in a little container. It's just a tablespoon. You can certainly have more. And a tablespoon of ground flax. And if you can do that in a smoothie, and even if you don't do it every day, you're giving yourself all of these amino acids and all of these essential fatty acids that are going to feed your hormones in such a beautiful way, you guys. It's unbelievable. So pumpkin and flax for the first 2 weeks after a full moon, or the first 2 weeks after you're finished menstruating, pumpkin and flax. Then we go through ovulation for about 3 to 5 days. That's when our energy is nice and high. We're going to be getting out there. We're going to be seeing people. We're going to be creating. We're going to be mashing and smashing any kind of projects. We're going to be purging stuff. And as we go into this next 2 weeks, our body naturally actually burns about 8 to 16% more calories just by being in this 2-week cycle. So we can up that by not pushing it with things like fasting and things like pushing it through exercise. We want to get into a bit of more of our restorative stuff, our Tai Chi, our yoga, our stretching, our, maybe do a HIIT class, but not 3. Maybe do a spin class, but not 5. Maybe do one cardio class and the rest sort of a little bit more emotion oriented, soothing oriented. We can have a few more grains this time. We tend to start to want to, we're moving from summer into the fall now. We're kind of wanting to sort of finish up our projects, kind of make our plans, start to see that end, and really start to want to stay home and kind of hunker down into the winter, where we sort of go back into that hormonal menstrual cycle. So in our luteal stage, which is that last 2 weeks, we want to do sesame and sunflower seeds. So a tablespoon each of sesame and sunflower seeds. And that is recommended every day for 2 weeks. So it's literally 2 weeks of pumpkin and flax, 2 weeks of sesame and sunflower, 2 weeks of pumpkin and flax, 2 weeks of sesame and sunflower. If you do a couple extra days here or there, that is not going to hurt you at all. It's just going to enable your body to actually get those seeds and those amino acids and all of those essential fatty acids that you need. And the body responds so well to that seed cycling. So you literally just learned how to sync your whole cycle with the moon and learn how to sort of eat properly. I have a page that's called BioFlow. And if you guys want, you are more than welcome to just kind of look it up. It's a Facebook page. Or you can even look up my name or whatever. And I have it all written out, every exercise you're supposed to do, family planning you're supposed to do, partner stuff you're supposed to do. Like there's different things emotionally wise that we're supposed to do each part of the month. And imagine if you sort of knew that you were going to feel this way or that way this week or that week, how much easier it is to plan and actually have your partner, your family support you as well with getting balanced. It makes life so much easier. So again, we'll talk about caffeine. Make sure you're getting your water, make sure you're getting those proper fluids into yourself. Even coconut water, if you're not a huge water drinker, it's going to have lots of electrolytes. It does have a little bit of that natural sugar, but again, it's absorbed by the body quite easily and won't be something synthetic like a Gatorade, something like that per se. Sleeping well, gentle workouts. Oh, our Deep Blue, it's on sale right now, 20% off. So people are stocking up on that. Our digestive system is so connected to our nervous system. We have so many things for our digestive system, but my biggest go-tos are the probiotic that has the prebiotic in it, of course, and our digestive enzyme. If we do nothing else, just taking that digestive enzyme after we've eaten or just after we've started eating is going to help to break down those nutrients, get everything to where it needs to go, and take the stress off the body with absorbing all those gluten intolerance cells, get a little bit of a break, just absorbing what we need to from our food. Staying proactive with your supplements, using some fiber perhaps, and oiling yourself on a regular basis. The last thing I would like to talk about a little bit is just keeping yourself focused on making those changes. When we think of all of this at once, it might feel like a lot. But one of the things we can do is simply breathe. Our neurological system is 100% the one that's running where our nervous system is running at, whether it's in that sympathetic fight or flight mode, or whether it can actually relax into parasympathetic mode. And by taking a deep breath and simply feeling happy, and I encourage people to think of the thing they love the most. Like, what do you love the most? It could be your dog, it could be your kid, it could be Mexico, it could be anything, but what do you just love? And when we can actually get into that feeling of something that we really love, we can transpose that over into self-care and over into self-love just by literally shifting our focus. Like, if we can love our dog that much, how come we can't love ourselves that much? And if we can love something so much, we know we're capable of giving that. We're absolutely capable of receiving it as well. So I encourage you guys to take a breath during these days and really allow yourself to feel happy, or really allow yourself to feel a body that has no pain. Really just pretend, if you have to absolutely make it up. Your big quantum field doesn't really understand whether you're in that or not. It knows you're really happy right now, and it's going to produce more happy chemicals. We often get stuck and almost trained in wanting to solve problems all the time and staying focused on those problems. And if we can help our loved ones and we can help ourselves to stay focused on creating, we can really make a huge difference in people's lives. And in saying that, there's people that come to these classes for a different reason, right? We all kind of love having natural products, natural tools in our toolbox to be able to go to. And I don't know where I would be without my oils. I honestly don't know. I use them every single day to ground. I use them every single day to reduce pain. Even before we started here, I was slathering myself up with the Deep Blue stick, and I got my Motivate out. And it's such a part of my life now. I can't imagine living without it. So I started by just being a customer. I didn't want to share or anything like that. So I got a wholesale account. It was cheaper than buying retail, which is absolutely an option as well. And now what I do is I have an account where I order every single month. I get tons of free stuff. I get free oils every month. I've paid for all my products that I get, and I can then share them. So I end up bringing little samples of oils with me everywhere I go. And I just share the love, you know, I end up being able to get all my shipping back. I get all sorts of bonuses by doing this. So there's those ways to purchase. And there's also a few more ways. We have kits right now that have absolutely everything you kind of need. This one here, it is not a huge investment, but it has all of our vitamins. It has lavender, has tangerine oil, which is so important for glutamine right now. It has the balance, it has On Guard, frankincense. It has so many amazing, beautiful oils in it, not to mention our deep blue rub that is so good. I don't know if you guys have tried that. I'm sure a lot of you have, but you know, depending on what kind of a lifestyle you want to start adopting, if you're just going to go all in, these kits, you save so much money just because you actually get a really good combination of things. And they want to encourage you having it as easy as possible. We have a couple of ways as well that have the diffusers and a whole bunch of oil. So these are the big oils, the big bottles of oil. The copaiba oil, it's much like CBD oil in that it basically gets those CB2 receptors working. So it's 60% stronger than any CBD oil that you could get out there for pain, for inflammation, for antioxidants. So I recommend it all the time. You also get some deep blue oil. You get our On Guard, which is our immune boosting blend, the stomach blend, the respiratory blend, peppermint, our stress blend, and it's our adaptive blend that it has basically adaptogenic herbs as well to help people with severe anxiety, depression, really bad, you know, mood issues, really overwhelm. That adaptive is absolutely amazing. I make bath bombs out of it. I make so many little room spritzers and things for people, roller balls with that. I go through a bottle of oil like that, like in no time, even though it has almost 300 drops. It's easy to share when you have a nice big bottle like that. So this is a beautiful kit with a gorgeous diffuser. And with all of these, you get started. You don't have to pay for a membership fee. It's all included. And then you start out just like us with, as a customer, being able to order any oil anytime you want. So as soon as you start running out of these, you can start replacing. This is our new little pebble diffuser that's absolutely gorgeous. And it has some cute little bottles with it. You get frankincense with this, you guys. That frankincense is worth so much all on its own, not to mention all the other beautiful oils that come with it, the deep blue, oregano. This is just such a great kit. And there are much smaller ones. You can just buy a single oil if you want. You know, we make it really, really easy. So definitely reach out to the person that invited you today if there's something that you wanted more information on. If you have more questions about anything to do with any of the oils, any of the hormone stuff, you can absolutely reach out to myself or Rosetta or the person that invited you guys tonight. And the last thing I'd like to share is that we have three types of people. So like I said, the person that just wants to be a customer and just order their oils, the person that actually wants to be like me and share the oils, get all their products paid for. And now also, this is what I do full time, right? With life coaching, I use my oils every single day with people, just teaching them online how to use them. And I can't imagine doing anything else at this point. And had this pandemic not happened, I may not have slowed down enough to really notice how much people needed this and how much fun I could have. It really makes me happy to be able to get together. And if that is something that interests you, a little bit more about the business, we always end up staying on after class for just a few minutes to just chat very briefly about what it means to be a builder and to actually do doTERRA as a business. And so for now, I'm going to just stop my share. And I am going to thank you guys so much for hopping on. I noticed I lost someone there. Did you guys have any questions or anything? I'm just going to stop recording so that I can answer them. So thanks again for coming here.